Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tell Me More Radio with Tom Shadyac. I am your host, Jasmine Houston, and I have a lot of amazing people in the room with me. I want to give you guys a chance to say your name, so we're going to start over here.
Hey, I'm John.
Coldway.
Art.
What's up? I'm Shay.
Hey, I'm Keon.
And I'm Dennis.
And I'm Brooke.
Hey, guys. Well, we can't hear the music, so I don't really know what's going on, but we're going to do our thing anyway. So I wanted to start out by saying that I'm really excited to be back because I didn't host last Thursday because it was Thanksgiving, of course, but I really missed it, and I'm glad to be back. So y'all call me and show me some love. But anyway, I also want to start off by giving my aunt Rita a shout out. She's been sick lately, but I just wanted to let you know I love you, Aunt Rita, and I hope you feel better.
Get better, Aunt Rita.
I wanted to tell my cousin Danielle and my aunt Linda happy birthday, and as well as my uncle Arthur. His birthday was yesterday. So I love y'all, and I love y'all. But anyway, a lot of people who come to the station often wanted to do a show about knowledge of self. And ironically, those people aren't here today, but hopefully they could call in. So if you all would like to call in, or any of you guys out there listening, the number is 901-260-5926. Again, that is 901-260-5926. So tonight's show is going to be about knowledge of self. And so I guess it's basically saying, what does it mean to know yourself? And just to start it off, I wanted to give you guys a few definitions about what knowledge of self could be defined as. And so I just simply looked on the internet and found a couple definitions that I liked. So the first one was from Merriam-Webster, and it says knowledge or understanding of one's own capabilities, character, feelings, or motivations. And so I thought that was a pretty good definition. And then I got another one from thefreedictionary.com, and it says knowledge of self is knowledge or understanding of one's own nature, abilities, and limitations, insight to oneself. And so what I really want to talk about is, how do you get to know yourself? What happens like when you don't know your own capabilities as defined in this definition, and kind of what happens when you place limitations upon yourself. And so I know that's a lot, but it just goes to show that this show could basically be going in any direction. But the main theme is knowledge of self. So if you guys would like to call in and tell us what knowing yourself means to you, or the consequences of not knowing yourself, please do so at 901-260-5926. And so I wanted to start off by asking you guys, what does knowledge of self mean to you?
I'll jump in and start because I love this concept. To me, knowledge of self is a reflection of the love of life. And that's also what philosophy means. It means a lover of life. And someone who loves life has to first learn to love it through themselves. And so to me, it's just understanding yourself better so you can love life more.
Anyone else?
Not everyone all at once. Well, I've been playing with this idea a lot recently. I think I've shared this on the show before, but right now I'm thinking that you don't really create the person that you are, you kind of figure it out. So when you're younger, you have all these experiences, you have your genetics, you have everything that happens to you, and I feel like that kind of cements who you are as a person. And then going forward, we've got two choices. You can either dive deeper into self-knowledge, into who you are, into being your authentic self, or you can do something to kind of conceal who you are. You can take the job that doesn't feed your soul, or you can lie to someone that you wish you were honest with. Those are like the two options that I'm seeing right now in my life.
So as far as you said something about lies, and I think that's a big part of it, because a lot of us are living a lie at times because we're trying to worry about pleasing others, pleasing our parents, living up to society standards. And so what are the consequences of trying to live up to everyone else's standards?
If you don't dissolve the ego, that's when you spiral down the emotional spiral. For me, I look within myself because that's the only place I can get the knowledge of self, not from the flesh, but from the spirit. Because the kingdom of God lies within, and he whosoever look within himself shall find it. When you seek outwards, you tend to get misled because the flesh will mislead you. So you have to see yourself, your spiritual self. You have to look in the mirror and really look at yourself and go within. And just get a good understanding of everything that you are. Like, everything is frequency, energy, and vibration. And once you get a good understanding of that, you can understand how everything works. And then you start working from the inside out, and you get to the flesh, and you see what to feed the flesh and how to maintain your body and eat the right things, because you have to understand that a lot of things that we consume today harm us, and due to our lack of knowledge of these things, we continue to go consume them, and we catch cancers and all these things when we're really a perfect living organism if we maintain a certain level of homeostasis, which is maintaining alkalinity. But that's another conversation. But what I'm just saying is, once you get knowledge of self, you can understand any front that somebody tries to attack you on, you'll be prepared for it. But if you don't know self, then you don't know how to protect yourself.
Sensei.
Right. You brought up a lot of good points. Back to knowledge of self.
I'll take a stab at it. When I hear knowledge of self, I think somebody being completely comfortable with who they are, what they can do, what they can't do. That'll essentially help somebody grow. When I know I can do something, then I know, what I'm capable of. When I know I can't do something, I know that I need to work to be able to do it. You don't always have to be the best. You don't always have to, strive for the top. Some people are comfortable where they're at. And I've met people throughout my life that were okay, being a line chef, or okay being a manager at a gas station or something. They did not want to go further. But the thing about it is they were comfortable where they were at in life, and they were comfortable with themselves. We're always taught as kids, strive for the top, be the best, have the most money, the best job. I've had those jobs. I've had those, those moments in my life, and those were when I was most miserable. And that's because I didn't know who I was and what I really wanted and what I enjoyed in life. So once I figured that out, and was able to get away from that.
All right, you wanted to say something?
Well, it's just he said a lot. Coldway said a lot of things that led up to his knowledge of self, and a lot of folks have said what they think their definition is. But what he also said is this is how I learned this. And so what I'm curious about is, what is the journey to knowledge of the self? What are the steps or the hurdles we have to jump, or what are those things that we go through that lead us to the knowledge of self? I wrote down a few things that I know for me. I have to check my feelings and do that on a regular basis. And if they're consistent over a period of time, I assume that's part of me. I can always look at my past and judge it against what's around me and find out, is it me, or am I following somebody else's knowledge or somebody else's path, which could lead me to, I guess, an incorrect or incomplete knowledge of myself. And I got another one that says listening to my thoughts, which is similar to feelings, but a little bit different. We all spend a lot of time in our heads doing what I ain't going to say. And then we also have to recognize self-imposed limits and find out if those are limits or things that we have limited ourselves to purposely. Is it some propaganda that's out there? What is the path? What is the journey that leads us to knowledge of self?
Well, for me, I went through so many different phases of trying to figure out who Jasmine was and is. And, as soon as I thought I knew, it was my circumstances demanded for me to change and get out of my comfort zone. So whenever I thought I had it figured out, I was like, man, I still got stuff to work on. And that's, what I'm still going through now. I'm a really deep thinker, and I just think all the time. And sometimes it's a blessing and a curse. But usually, like I know something bigger than myself, and so whenever I start having like these negative emotions or I question things, it's like I know it's a problem because I shouldn't be feeling that way, because if I know that there is a higher power and I am a part of higher power, then it's like I am the higher power. So whenever I feel afraid or any other low vibrational emotions, I just have to question myself. And so that's what I've been doing like these past few days. I haven't been feeling the best mentally, but it's just like once I start trying to figure out why I'm feeling that way, what's the source of that problem, I feel a lot better. And so that's what I've been doing. But I guess everyone has a different path, and the main thing that kind of helped me realize that I wasn't the happiest version of myself is by acknowledging that other people or living up to different expectations made me feel that way. So that's just how I kind of went through my inner journey, by questioning expectations and my own expectations for myself. Keon?
Well, I kind of want to bring up a question based off what both of you were saying, because I think there's a balance in, like, you find out who you are a little more and more, and through different texts, books, movies, everything, you can start to kind of pivot your own understanding of yourself based off of other people's journeys of the understanding of themselves. And kind of, to me, I can't decide if it's wisdom when I look towards their path and see like, well, this took this turn and I might not necessarily like that turn, but then it kind of makes me doubt some of the choices I make in the moment. So I was wondering if you guys ever deal with that, where you're drawing parallels between characters and stories, and you're trying to figure out in the moment how you are the same or
I
different.
do that all the time, and I do it through an idea I would call resonance. If something resonates with me, then it feels natural. And if it feels natural, and it resonates with my spiritual being, probably more than anything else, then I feel closer to who I am, who the true self that I am. That was almost English. I think you know what I'm getting at. It's like what what Dennis was saying earlier. You're checking within. You're looking at things that are out there, and you're checking that against what's in there. And if you have a higher power, as Jasmine says, or as Dennis says, then there's even another place where you can check that. If you're a part of that bigger power, then again you can check it against that. But it's if you resonate with those things, then they feel natural, and they feel like home, easier to accept. That to me feels like the journey I'm on, trying to find that. And I get that through movies, through books, through people in this room, through people in every room I go through every day. I'm kind of looking for that because I want to find out who that person is. And I want to trim away the fat, if you will, of who that person's not, to get to the core.
And that's a big part of it too, because what helped me out a lot was trying to figure out who I was supposed to be in the eyes of others, compared to like what made me feel good on the inside and the things that I like. So a lot of people see the darkness and the dark places that they are in their lives as bad places, but I don't really think that is that bad. It's just helping you to the light, in my opinion, because you gotta go through the darkness in order to realize that you're in darkness, because without the darkness you wouldn't know the need for light.
Exactly.
So we have a caller who has been waiting. Andrew, you're on air. What you got to share with us?
Hey, this is Andrew. This is Drew. Let's deal with it. I'm going to go with the guy that was talking about the inner self, far as the God within you. First, you have to, my definition of knowledge of self would be more of self-reservation. I mean, not reservation, but preservation and realization. I look at it as like two different worlds. You have your inner world and your outer world. Your inner world, well, your outer world is more of what you act, manifest, take care of your family, everyday learning, and all this kind of stuff there. Then you have this inner world. That's the life within us. That's the one we lost in touch with. Your inner world is really your real identity. And what I mean by that, that's the soul.
God bless you.
That's your soul. And a lot of people get it mixed up with ego and your soul. Your ego is one of the things that can be very detrimental to you. With that being said, the outer world that's been culturally conditioned with outside influence.
So, why do you think that we have gotten out of touch with our inner world or soul, as you say?
Because religion and different kind of outside influences and the way we've been taught to go, what I usually refer to as the box, homework, school, church, homework, school, church. And that's all we know. The false expectations that our parents gave us. And then they only teach us that in school, homework, school, church, and then we die.
So, how do we get in this box, so to say, the homework, school, church? I think that's what you said.
Yeah, homework, school, church, homework, school, church. We got in that box because, like I say, through generations, we don't follow what our ancestors did. This is something our ancestors knew. Everybody knew this. Even the higher I always refer to the higher powers, but they even know this. They know that it's more to life than just homework, school, church. And like I say, the religions and churches and they don't teach you this.
Do you think do you think it's a reason that they don't teach us these things?
Well, I don't think it's a reason. It's just that everybody had different beliefs. And the different beliefs, like I say, when you start putting it in your head this false God or whoever that the Roman Catholic Church or whatever put in your head, then you done lost. Because once you get to believing into somebody else, you take all the power from that person.
So, Andrew, how do you step outside that box?
How do you step outside?
How do you step outside that box?
You have to get outside that box by, like I say, you got to think to yourself, and you have to come to self-realization and be like, it got to be more to life. I know the higher power, the creator of the world, just didn't put me here, just to think, just to go about my life as like the cultural influences. You have to think outside the box and think within yourself. What am I here for? Everybody has a purpose on this land, on this earth, and you have to find out what your purpose is.
Exactly.
Andrew, can you briefly tell us how you came to this realization that in order to know yourself, it has to come from within? Very, very briefly, though.
So I was about 5 years ago. I came to this realization of myself because I was always working. I said it has to be something. I know I don't supposed to work and die. Work, raise my kids, and die. So I realized, I said it has to be something else. So me, I'm a big historian, so I got to looking at people like Marcus Garvey and Fred Hampton, all the Malcolm X. Why did he leave the Muslim religion? And what they had mostly in common was knowing thyself, know thyself. And
can I pose? Can I? I'm echoing. Hello. Can I pose a possible scenario, Andrew? And I think it works for me. It may not work for you. Wherein you get to a place in life, and then for you it was 5 years ago, and you thought that there must be something more. I would pose that perhaps a part of soul recognizes it's not fulfilling its self.
Correct.
It's not growing. It's not recognizing itself. It's not living out its path. And so that bubbles up as a certain underlying maybe discontent or a sense of urgency. And we got to go, and then we try to put a finger on it and say, what is that? What's bugging me?
Right.
How do I get out of this? Do I need to get out of the box, or do I just recognize what it is? And maybe that's what drives us. Sometimes it's crisis. Like in my case, I was just plugging along, happy as can be, and then I ran into a few crises that made me question: am I exploring myself as deeply as I possibly could?
Right. It actually take away from like religion and certain organizations. Actually take you away from freedom of being individual freedom. And like I always tell people, oppression, everything is a mindset. It's the way you think. If you think something, of course it's going to happen because you're going to start saying it. Then after you start saying it, your actions are going to start showing it. So once you know and get the positive energy in your head and eliminate the positive people that are around you, you attract a positive people, which is also one of the universal laws. So when the positive energy comes around, you think positive. And when you start thinking positive, you move towards success because you're starting to talk of success and you start to act upon on success.
It's all perception. Like your spirit manifests
Right.
everything that you see. 5% of what we see in consciousness is what we see. The other 95% is the ether, the stuff that we don't see, the glue that holds everything together. So why are we so concerned with the 5% when there's 95% of something we can't see? And the spirit,
Right.
like
and,
I said,
and we also have to understand we all are connected to the universe. And knowledge of self will teach you that you are connected somehow to the universe. And what I mean by universe, I mean you and the universe are made up of the same things. Everything is made up of an atom and cell. So if you realize that you're part of the universe, that the human race is a part of the universe, then you'll realize that, hey, maybe I'm not supposed to be here and just die.
Well, I'm really glad that you brought up those points, and we're going to touch on them a little more after the break. So thanks for calling in, Andrew, and we really appreciate your call. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, I'll be back next week.
All right, be
There we go.
safe. All right, y'all, we're about to take a quick break. If you would like to call in and give your perception of what knowledge of self means to you, please call us at 901-260-5926. We'll be right back.
I am light. I am light.
All right, welcome back to Tell Me More Radio. I am Jasmine Houston, and tonight we're talking about knowledge of self. Andrew was our previous caller, and he brought up a lot of good points, but we also have some more callers that I would like to see what they think knowledge of self is. So, caller, you're on the air. What do you have to share with us?
Adrian.
Hey,
One of
Adrian.
my favorite.
Hi.
How are you?
Doing fine. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. One of my favorite quotes that we have had on this show is that you cannot play your role in time until you know who you are in eternity. And I think we've kind of gotten close to that, but for me that has come down to understanding the divine within within each of us and understanding how connected we all are and using that to drive our choices for what we want to do in life and what our reaction to things that happen around us are. And that is one of those quotes that I chew on an awful lot and just wanted to throw that out there again for people to hear and think about, because it was something that made a tremendous difference in my life during a time when I needed to make some significant changes and really didn't understand all of the things that I needed to do in my life. Some of the things I thought I needed to do were really symptoms rather than dealing with causes of things.
So, what made you think to look inside yourself to realize that we have to recognize that there is a more divine source?
I think for me it was getting to the point that I had spent a lot of time working on my career and trying to fit in this model that the perfect family has a mother and father and two children, and you live in a house in the suburbs, and you do certain things and you join certain organizations, and that was not authentic to me. I spent a lot of time and effort building that picture, only to find that there was a lot in that picture that was inconsistent with my core self.
Well, go ahead, Brooke.
Yeah, so now that you've switched jobs, moved houses, taking on a lot of parenting responsibilities on your own, how have things changed? Are you more in tune with who you are? Are you feeling disconnected? Where's your headspace at right now?
I think I had to get more in tune with who I was before I could make those changes. And then once I got in tune with it, it was like, oh my God, I got to do these things.
It makes a lot of sense.
And for me, it was probably a lot of, too much pent up inability to change, so that I chose to make a number of very major life changes in a very short period of time. And there are certainly times where that feels uncomfortable, but for the most part and deep down, now it feels right.
No, I totally understand where you're coming from. It's also a little sad to have you on the other side of a cell phone tonight instead of sitting across the table from us, but we really appreciate you calling in anyway.
Yeah, Adrian, thanks for calling, and have a great night, and I hope that you enjoyed your stay here.
I had a wonderful stay. I can't wait to come back. Talk to you guys
We'll
soon.
see you
Good night.
soon.
All righty. Well, we're going to take another caller, and hopefully we could get that clip ready because I really want to play it. So, Father of the Earth, you're on the air.
Hey.
You gonna put him on?
Why you do it?
Excuse me, Father of the Earth. I just had to let I know they losing faith in me over there. I'm working the phones and I'm hopping and skipping and I'm jumping over here. But look here. I
No,
got your
we have
clip
faith
ready
in you.
At 1:26, man, and we're gonna run it. When you say so, we gonna run that thing.
There we go.
All right, thanks so much. All right, Father of the Earth.
Well, look at what I was going to say to add to the conversation is the way you handle with people when you say you're coming out of you're trying to become, really you're being born. That's what you're doing. But the way I do people, and I like to do it, and I have a lot of fun doing it because that's the reason I was born, is to have all the fun I can and put it, organize my father's house. So what I do, they talk and get foolishness and craziness in their head. I start talking crazy. And I said, well, I tell you what, I accept your beliefs right there. What is 1/8 of an inch plus 3/48? And see if they can, hey, don't pick up no pencil now. Don't pick no calculator up on me. And they can't tell you 3/16. No wonder you've been misled and ran all around. You don't even know how to count. Don't you know if you don't know how to count, you will get mistreated? Math is everything.
Yes,
Reading,
sir.
writing, arithmetic, and everything is, especially music. Ooh, man, music is down with math. I love it too, because I'm bad. I'm a bad musician.
So, Father of the Earth, are you saying if you can't do math, you don't count?
You ain't took no time out to even figure yourself out, even to figure things out. You just went around with what was born and what was laid before you. Now, I've done my homework. Yeah, power, God, and effect. What's up? Look me deep in my eyes.
All right, Father of the Earth. Well, I really appreciate you for bringing up the fact that math is really important. I wish Andre was here because he knows a lot about math and science and all that. But we really appreciate your call, and you have a safe night, all right?
All right, don't let them folk punk you out. All right, feel good now.
All right. So I want to play the clip real fast, and then after that, we're going to take another break just to get people's minds going and let everybody take all this stuff in.
I am light. I am light. I am light. I am light.
All right, y'all. Welcome back to Tell Me More Radio. It has been a very interesting night, but
Very
regardless,
interesting.
we're going to just go with the flow. And so I guess that's a part of knowing yourself because I'm still calm. And so we really appreciate you. No, it's okay. It's okay. We'll just do this show.
I don't want to take too much of your time, but I do want to ask because I was not informed. I have hotkeys here with the clips that are already preloaded in here that they said that you were going to use going in and out of break. So this is exactly what I'm playing. You know?
All right, well, I understand that it's your first time, so I'm not upset with you at all, but we're going to just continue, so it's about to be like more personal.
It's led me to a question for everyone. I think it's very important for knowledge of self is what makes you laugh?
For me?
Well, for everybody, what makes you like really happy and laugh? Like, but like laugh. Like, have you When was the last time you like had that laugh like where you're like, wow, I haven't laughed like that in a long time, and it was awesome.
I cry laughing.
My brother literally ripped my dad apart checking him.
All right, so since we didn't really get a chance to play the clip I wanted to, like a big thing that I wanted to do tonight was talk about how like God is within us, but I'm gonna save this show for next week, I guess. But what I want to focus on now is just the power of knowing yourself more. So Dennis, I know you've been doing a lot of inner work, and so can you tell me like the steps that you take to make sure that you get to know yourself better?
All I can tell you is what works for me. Like when I met Rico, he introduced me to, basically crystal healing, the crystals like amethyst quartz and smoky quartz and citrine and all these different crystals. And when I started buying them, I started noticing my life to change. I used to believe that it was kind of weird that people thought stones had these powers and emitted frequencies until I started, each one I got for the different chakras, I noticed my life started to change. It started to manifest in my life. So I started getting one for each chakra and really honing in on it and really looking inside myself. And that's when I understood how powerful I was, because I figured if I was energy, I wanted to understand everything about this energy source. I didn't care about the flesh anymore, because that's what kept me lost. Because that's the thing. If you seek outwards, you find in all these books, internet knowledge, and that stuff is going to lead to one thing. You start cross-referencing, and it's going to make you get confused. But if you look within self, your heart won't lie to you. Your mind will lie to you, because your mind is where everybody likes to go and hide. And me, I went and I hid in my mind, and I locked it up, and I went to go lay down and look next to me. Somebody was in there with me, and he was like, "You thought I didn't know?" And I was like, that's when I realized you're not safe in your mind, because somebody I met had read my mind. He was in there with me in the place I thought I was safe. And he told me, you need to get out of your head and get in your heart. That's where the truth is. And when I saw myself for who I was, that's when I knew. All the feelings of insecurities, looking at yourself, seeing things you want to change will dissolve. That's all part of the flesh. The flesh feels that way. The spirit doesn't. The spirit understands that it comes from God, and there's nothing wrong with it. They teach us that you can't achieve being perfect. But see, God said, let us create man in our image, speaking of the earth and of himself. Spiritually, we're of him. Flesh is of the earth. And the flesh dies, but the spirit never dies. Energy never dies. And that's when you understand who you really are, and you'll be in complete happiness. That's why monks and people who reach this level of enlightenment are truly happy, because they reach that inner peace. You reach the inner peace, you can dissolve all of those feelings. You have to search within yourself. It's no other place you can look but within yourself. If you search without, you'll stay confused. You'll be blundering around. And the consequences of not knowing yourself can be grave. I mean, as far as even the music that you listen to, people have no idea that the music we listen to affects us. That's why you see things manifested in the neighborhoods of the things that they're talking about, because it's a vibration. And you absorb this vibration. And what you listen to, you become. And just get an understanding of that. I can't really go deep into it because I don't want to take everybody's time, but just really go home and study frequency and energy and vibration, and you'll understand how all this stuff works.
And actually, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Shay. I'm glad you're speaking.
I want to actually say that is a beautiful point you're making about the frequency and energy. However, for me personally, my journey began like from things that I took in, the things that I read about my history, things like that. To have this discussion, especially as a black woman, and I'm sitting at a table with black men, you have to bring up the fact that
and art,
and art, and Brooke. But to have this discussion of knowledge of self, it's not fair to not mention the black experience, especially in America, but all over the world. We're so commonly taught to hate ourselves. We take that in. I am a example of that. I used to believe that my skin was basically a curse. I hated my skin color. I hated everything about me. I would straighten my hair, all that stuff. And it took me seeing the documentary Hidden Colors to like striking that match in my head. Like it was a beautiful thing, and that documentary alone changed my life. Like I recommend that documentary for anybody.
So what about it touched you?
just seeing all the things that I had never heard, or hearing all the things I have never heard about my history, about where we come from. Because on the documentary, Nas said it best. We're just taught that we started as slaves. Like that's where our history starts in textbooks.
True.
And
Her hair is gorgeous, by the way.
Yes, and I'm
And
saying
she's
like her
beautiful.
skin is
Thank
just
you.
glowing. Like, go
But-
ahead, though.
No, you're fine. But yeah, we're taught that our history started as slavery, and to be taught that we were kings and queens and things like that. I seriously, people look at me and they're like, "You are like really walking with your head held high," because I know who I am and what I'm capable of, and it's a beautiful thing.
I like to piggyback off that because knowing who you are is very important, because that is the only true way to actually be able to stand up and walk tall. For me, for example, I basically suffered many years of people ridiculing me for basically how I walk, talk, act, behave, anything. And nobody ever taught me to be this way or told me to act this way. I just came out being me. So for me, this journey of knowing self and being ashamed to know myself came twofold. It came one from a system that basically taught our people not to like themselves, and then basically my people pretty much chastised me for being so different. And on top of the fact of me not accepting exactly who I was. I had an issue, I had an identity crisis, as in I would never identify with being black. I would always identify with being Indian, because my family, that's what I was taught. I was taught I'm Kahari or Cherokee or Blackfoot or whatever. As soon as somebody would say, "Oh, you're black," I'd be like, "No, I'm not," because, well, the people that were called black, well, they pretty much treated me terribly, so I wouldn't want to associate myself with these particular people. But when you do inner research and you study for knowledge of self, you start to understand that even the way that people treat you on the outside is really kind of set up to help you dislike even them that don't exactly know who they are. So they'll try to keep you down from knowing yourself because it makes them feel better about where they are. And you have to get over that in order to overcome the true wholeness of what it is to be self, because you can't even exactly you can't even talk to God really if you don't know yourself, because it's like, why would God want to talk to somebody that's not his equal? He created everybody perfectly, so why would he want to communicate with somebody that's imperfect? He's like, I gave you all the keys, I gave you everything, and then you decide to do this. Just, love yourself, love me, and let's be cool. But if you can't do that, it's like you defeat the whole purpose in life.
All right, John. I just know that Andre is going to have something come up based off what you said. So, Andre, you're on the air.
Great evening to you fine people. Y'all doing a great job. And I wanted to elaborate on, I didn't hear the first part, I just tuned in, but I wanted to elaborate on the thing that the gentleman just said and the young lady. Not only does knowledge of self render you the results of understanding where you come from, it also gives you results to understand that you are the universe and the universe is you. You are no separate. Everything is interconnected. It's electromagnetic field around the earth. You switch from electric to magnetic every 2 hours. So you are the universe and the universe is you. It also renders you results as far as knowing what direction, what are your special abilities that you have, with your numbers, understanding your birth date, your name equal a number, your birth date equal a number, the day you came in is a number. All these things, your sign is 4 elements that create the earth, and you're the 5th element, the electrical spark. When the sperm hit the egg,
The ether.
you were created, and everybody. You have 3 water signs, 3 earth signs, 3 fire signs, and 3 air signs, which make up 12 tribes. And we got to understand we have to roll in unison. Where the sun is right now, we're in the age of Aquarius.
Yes, we are.
We're in a new age, and it's the age of entrepreneurship. No more jobs, entrepreneurship, knowledge of yourself. The Bible, basic instructions before leaving Earth. Your body is symbolic for the Earth. Bible, Old Testament, New Testament. Old body, old mind, new body, new mind. Knowledge of self. Know thy seek the truth, and it'll make you free in your head. We're mental slaves right now. We're in bondage mentally. Most of the people have to come out of that, and knowledge of self will render you all those results.
All right, Andre. Well, you
Yes,
need
sir.
to come back because we don't have to touch on this again.
Yes, sir.
But
I will definitely be there next week. I got kind of busy at the shop, working on their heads. 2733 Barley Boulevard, turning heads. If you want some, turn. Come see me.
I was just about to tell you. Go ahead and give
Shameless
yourself a little
plug.
shout out. Free promo.
There we
But
go.
we'll talk to you soon. All right, we got X who's been waiting. X, what do you have to share with us?
X.
What's up, good people? How y'all doing?
What
Hey,
up?
X.
What up, though?
Hey.
Hey, I had a quick question for
Hey,
everybody
hey.
right now. I know a few people in the studio right now, and some of the journeys that y'all, have been going through, and also some of that, I guess, enlightenment and actions that are taken based on knowledge of self. So I want to present the question of, what do you do with the knowledge of self? And also, outside of that, what do you know about yourself that you haven't yet acted on?
Well, what you do with the knowledge of self, you're supposed to
I
be.
want to know what you do.
Oh, what I do?
You.
Yes.
Oh, what I
Yes.
do? Well,
Oh, you.
okay, fine. Okay. What I do with knowledge of self is I do my best to be a walking, living example of that. For example, I honestly do hate that pulling my hair back, I look like a girl. I don't like it. But
Hey.
I'm an Indian, so that's how we look. Accept it. Move on. Another thing is I'm very proper. And people typically, depending on what group you're with, don't have an issue with that. I continue to be proper, and if there becomes a problem, I get extremely proper instead of belligerent. Other things, keep your diet up. You show people based on how you walk on your everyday life, and if you walk around with your head held high and you tell people to walk with their head held high, then they'll believe it because they actually see it. Versus they just see you, they hear you saying it, but you're not actually living it. So as long as you're being an example of self-knowledge, then you influence other people to also be a better. So
X, I want to flip that question on you. What do you do to show people that you know who you are and what you represent?
Well, just one, small example. Most people in all this know I've been vegan for like precisely a year now. Right before Thanksgiving last year, I decided to give up meat, to give up all these harmful things that were affecting my body. But that came through research and really looking at me wanting to be the best version of myself possible, me wanting to be clear of myself, me wanting to take away all of the, negative acidity that was in my body. So, developing a plant-based diet was a big part of that for me and how I wanted to live my life and how I was, knowing myself. So that was just an example. The second question, one of the things that I know about myself that I haven't acted on yet, I think we all kind of face challenges with, eating. It's kind of becoming expensive to eat healthy for a lot of people. I know, Jazz, you're facing that right now.
Yes, I'm working through it though.
You can kind of talk about that as well, of just your journey on why you even decided to change your eating habits and how you are with it.
I will say this. I'm no longer eating fast food after today because I went to a fast food restaurant last night and their computer system was down, and the woman told me that my total was 8 something. Verbatim, she said 8 something. And I said, well, my meal should have been about 5 something. And she proceeds to pull out an Etch-a-Sketch and do math, and she came back and said it's going to be about 8 something. So I left.
Oh, man.
All right, X, well, thanks for calling in and thanks for your little story, Kobe. I appreciate you both. So
Hey,
we'll
no
talk to you later, X. All right.
Hey.
So I wanted to go back to what I don't remember. I think it was Dennis was saying about perception. I think it was Dennis. And that's something that I've really been experiencing in my own life. And so whenever I feel like I'm afraid to do something or just all these bad negative emotions coming to me, I have to remind myself that perception is key, because I know that everything that I've ever wanted, I really got it. And it's not because I'm more special or had better opportunities and blah, blah, blah. It's just because of a strong mentality. And as far as knowledge of self, I'm still getting to know myself, and I'm real cautious to say that I know anything because I don't. But the one thing that I do know is that there's something bigger than myself that's controlling me. and it's within all of us. And once we realize that we could tap into it at any time, then that's how we get the results that we want. So, for example, like I want to make movies, and like at first I thought I had like a big unrealistic dream, but as I continue to try to be positive and keep bad negativity away from me, I'm realizing that I'm creating a path that will allow me to do what I want to do. And so, like Dennis said, everything to me is energy as well. And so that's why I'm really big on what I invest my time to, what I allow into my eyes, my ears, just any type of information, because it could affect me. And if I'm not conscious of what I'm doing to my body or any of that, I could be in a bad state. Because like fast food and things like that, when I started trying to when I tried to stop eating meat, I was like doing an assignment last semester, last minute, and I just needed something quick to eat. So I went to Wendy's, and like I had one of those burgers, and I took the first bite, and I felt like I was about to die. And I had only stopped eating fast food for probably like 3 weeks. So I just said all that to say that you have to be careful about what people tell you and things like that, because what I see oftentimes is that we want to fit in, and the things that we think makes us fit in are probably the things that's keeping us from actually realizing who we are, because we're really just followers. Most of us are at some point in our lives, but it isn't until we start to question ourselves and see what makes us happy that we could step away from being controlled or all these other things to see that there is something greater within us. So,
well, on that note, I just want to bring up, because we didn't talk about it, that when one person starts the journey of understanding the self, we all end up on the same road, and that's where you really make your friends.
It's a good point. Yeah. And that's one way that we could get a better world that we see once people start realizing that the problem isn't always out there. Most times it's in here. And until we're brave enough to realize that there's actually something that's going on in us that we might need to fix, then we just keep getting in the same place, because really this is just a result of all of our thoughts. So we gotta try to purify our hearts, our minds, our bodies, and all that good stuff. So the show didn't go nearly as how I planned it, but it's all good. I promise it's all good, because everything happens for a reason, and so we just gonna roll with it.
His perception, it went well. It went excellent.
Gotta flip that up. Gotta flip that.
If you say it went well, it was perfect.
Well, this show is perfect. Great. Y'all are perfect. I love y'all, and y'all have a nice night out there. And we'll try this again probably next Thursday. So y'all tune in Thursday next week, and also Monday through Friday for more Tell Me More. I'm Jasmine Houston.
And I'm John Hibbler.
I love y'all. Be safe.
Yeah.
Let's wake people up from the Matrix.
Peace.